and gentlemen, welcome to the Refined Savage podcast. I hope everyone is doing well. I am recording this on Memorial Day, these intros at least. So let's do a little business real quick and, happy Memorial Day. Viking Coffee, the best in the business. Had Evan Armstrong out a couple weeks ago. He's doing great and he is making the best coffee in the game. Check him out for all the flavors. Old Man Strength is, of course, my favorite, but he's got some other great flavors as well. He also has hats, mugs, T-shirts, all that cool stuff. VikingCoffeeCo.com. Use the code VikingCoffee10 at checkout. Cerberus, if you need anything for your Highland Games, your powerlifting, your strongman, we are getting ready to ramp up life and strength athletics in general. Cerberus can help you out from smelling salts to sandbags. They've got everything you could possibly need and more. Give them a holler at cerberus-strength.us. Use the code REFINEDSAVAGE10 at checkout. Warrior CBD. You guys, we have Shasta, the gym cat, here at the house. She is a maniac. We have dosed her up heavily with Warrior CBD for pets, and she is doing well on it. Works just great for people. If you have anxiety, sleeping issues, if you have aches and pains, Warrior CBD has a product for you. Give them a holler today. WarriorCBDofficial.com. Use the code WARRIOR20 off at checkout. Serious Steel. We are back in with gyms opening and getting opened up. You might need some equipment. You might need some equipment for that home gym. Whatever you need to equip, Serious Steel is the answer. Everything from weights and plates and kettlebells and bars to wraps and straps and knee sleeves. They have some of the best stuff out there. Check them out at SeriousSteel.com. Use the code SAVAGE at checkout for 10% off. Stay Classy Meats. Are you in the grips of the meat shortage? Dun, dun, dun. The meat shortage. Don't let it affect you. Stay Classy Meats will help you out. Check them out at stayclassymeats.com. Use the code SAVAGE at checkout. We're looking at small batch farms. These animals are raised correctly. They're raised humanely. No hormones, no crazy antibiotics. They're just eating grass and drinking from fresh streams. And Stay Classy Meats will deliver that meat right to your home. And you don't have to deal with supermarkets or the bogus, phony meat shortage. Check them out today. And finally, today, the breath belt. Don't ask me how it works. I don't know. I am not a rocket scientist. But what I will tell you is it does work. I use it for all heavy lifting now. And we're testing it in all different aspects. We're testing it with Hayden throwing, with running, with gymnastics. It is just amazing. Not only does it support you, but it really works on any kind of low back pain, hip pain you might be having. The breath belt is the key. Check them out at thebreathbelt.com. Use the code SAVAGE20, all caps, SAVAGE20 at checkout for 20% off. Today on the show, two of my favorite people on the planet, the Wencels, Pawel and Alina. We recorded this in the new gym. It was a great conversation, as always. That's why they always are invited back on the show. And I love these two people, and I hope you do too. So check them out, and we will see you at the end. We're rolling. Yeah. So I used to hang out in the old studio and watch like pro wrestling videos and stuff, and so now we'll just get it hooked up here. It'll be fine.
We know. Yeah. We'll just watch it right here.
Did you ever record episodes like during class?
Yeah, when people like were out like working out.
Yeah.
And you could hear people like banging plates and stuff. So I just told the coaches from now on, I'll schedule them when there isn't classes going on.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah.
Someone could walk in here and I'll just tell them to go away. So.
Okay.
But, what have you guys been up to? We should say like what?
God, coronavirus.
We are still
just
in the
in
middle
case,
of this.
Yeah, we're still.
Hopefully that when this
still
comes
happening.
out, we'll be out of it. But.
Yeah. There hasn't been much going on, obviously, because of the pandemic. But we bought a house.
Yeah, we got very lucky.
We got very lucky because we purchased our home right before everything happened, so to speak.
Right.
So I don't know how likely it would have been us getting home during the quarantine or whatnot.
Right. Yeah, no one will show you anything.
Exactly. So, and we were looking to get out of our apartment, and I think you commented that it was about time for us to get a house anyway.
Yeah.
You said it was good. So a lot of it's been us kind of at home doing a lot of house projects together, and with a little help from Alina's mom. Actually, a lot of help from Alina's mom in terms of landscaping. We have a half an acre in Olmsted Township, so
Your mom is the landscaper?
Well, no, I mean, the way he makes it sound, it's only half an acre, but it was just, it wasn't taken care of.
Yeah.
You know,
it was, yeah.
It just looked awful. It was just patches of puddles everywhere. It was just disgusting. So my mom is doing a lot of work.
Yeah.
Her and her friend.
Like
her and her
aesthet-
friend
like-
come over and they just go to
Yeah.
town.
Like aesthetics, like painting, not painting, planting beautiful flowers, like blueberry bushes and whatnot. We're doing more of the structural stuff.
Right.
Like we tore down the old fence, so we're putting up a privacy screen that we're building ourselves. We painted inside the house. We had a friend come in and do the floors. We're going to be exchanging the doors, the front door and the back door to the garage. And there's a big shed in the back. We still got to take that down. We put we'd create. Alina's idea was we had this big puddle. It's just like a mess of a fire pit.
Okay.
And the
that
drainage
turned into a puddle.
Yeah. So what we did is we tore all that out, dug that out, put like a new patio in, stone patio, and yeah, just kind of keep on coming. Hopefully we'll stay busy.
Garage gym.
Well, yeah. I mean, I don't know if we'll build a garage
Well,
gym.
he's got a garage
I have
gym
a garage
now.
gym.
That's how he's surviving. He
That's how
hasn't
I'm
killed me yet.
surviving.
It's because he's working out every day.
I took a bunch of stuff home before
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
place opened up. It's just because I didn't want to be working out in the gym when everybody else was working out at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, from our perspective, we weren't technically even allowed at the gym, right? So I think we closed down Black Flag right away, right? When the news came out, and we didn't. I think at first we thought it was like gonna be 2 weeks, right?
Right. Yeah. Originally. I knew I had a fee, and I put closed till April down, but I knew that they were gonna.
Yeah.
You know what? Let me. I'm gonna. All right. There we go.
And resuming. No, but yeah, I do have a garage gym, but the intention behind the garage gym was actually, at first we didn't have the stay-at-home order, right?
Right.
You just couldn't go to these places. We had the guidelines. So
For a week, I think it lasted
it lasted
about a week.
about a week. But my intention was like, hey, this is going to be the new kind of spot that if people need to kind of maybe train and whatnot, they can come in. But obviously like one at a time and whatnot. And then that kind of fell through very quickly. And then it just kind of, what we did is we let everybody rent equipment.
Yeah. That's
and,
we opened up the doors and just said take it, and like right on the side of the refrigerator here everyone's names with all the crap they took. But yeah, what a weird state of affairs we're in the middle of. I've never seen anything like this.
Mm-hmm.
And well, Tom was one of the guys. So when we closed, Tom was the guy I texted. I said, I saw you close last night. What are you thinking? And he was just like, yeah. He goes, just with all the writing on the wall, we thought we'd get ahead of the curve. And so after me and Aaron had discussed it the night before, and we kept going back and forth. So after I talked to him, I said, well, shit, I guess we will too. And we closed. And about 6 hours later, the order came down to close.
Yeah.
Or kind of order. I mean, there really hasn't been a lot of instructions on what we're supposed to be doing or how we're supposed to be doing it. But,
there isn't, and I think the frustration from coaches or business owners is that the guidance has been there hasn't been anything direct or seamless in terms of top down or bottom up even, right? From federal to state or state to federal, right? It's like, what do you do? Who can do what and at what times? And
it's like whoever's got the hot potato in their hands at the moment. And then they throw it, and then you take care of it.
Yeah. Exactly. And then we've been doing a lot of shopping, obviously, because of home projects.
Mm-hmm.
And
which has been awful, because we're not shoppers.
We're not, but also when
I don't think we've bought more than 5 things a year for the last 6-7 years. Oh.
Yeah, now you have a
Yeah,
house, which
now we
means
have a
you
house.
buy shit constantly.
It's awful. We
Yeah.
hate it.
It
Yeah.
sucks, yeah.
It's terrible.
But like
Aaron buys all that stuff. I just don't even pay attention.
Don't even look
Really?
at it. Yeah.
But like if like we're here now, a blind dog, and obviously there's just space, and it can you can have comfortably 5, 10, 15
Yeah.
people here, and we're closed. But you go to like Home Depot or you see Myers parking lot, and there's massive amounts of people
Yeah.
that I don't know necessarily would take the same precautions that we might, right?
Right. It's the stores have remained open, and Target. I mean, I understand you have groceries there, but now Target's an essential business. I mean, and you can't, I guess you can't tell Home Depot that they have to close if the other, how many hardware stores do you need? And, like you said, we have 10 squad. The way we looked at it, and again, I don't know if we'll get rules on how to reopen or not. I figure we have 10 squat stations with 6 feet of space between each one. That'll be our limit, But I've called down and talked to, first of all, I sent the governor a message. I sent him an email. I sent him an invite to do the podcast.
Covered all the bases.
I called down there, and both times I've called down there, they won't accept phone calls. They send you the Corona hotline.
Okay.
Which is weird because if I was calling about air pollution or something, I still would have to go to the Corona hotline.
Oh.
So I called down yesterday and talked to the lady, and I asked her for clarification. She wouldn't give you any. She said, it's up to me to interpret the closings and the openings to myself. And I said, so I'm trying to see, I offer a service at my business. Do I qualify as a service? And she said, it's up to you to interpret the rules yourself. I said, well, then I'm a service and I'm opening on May 12th. Well, I didn't tell you to do that. I said, you told me to interpret the rules, so I'm going to interpret the rules. So that's our plan, is to have our own stuff in place and open May 12th, and if somebody yells at us, they yell at us, so.
Yeah, I think some of the direction that we were taking or ideas was what is the Board of Health telling us to do, right?
Yeah.
The local Board of Health, and what's their direction? Kind of bringing it down level to level, right? Because federals are saying, hey, the governor's got to take care of it. The governor's telling you it's up to your interpretation.
I know
the so-called rules.
Ashland County today let their gyms open. They sent a letter to the governor saying, we know how to take care of our people, and we trust our people, and we're going to open up our economy again, because Craig Noletti down there just opened his gym up. And I called our county board of health, and they had, they were like, wow, that's a good point, because I was trying to explain that, some gyms are like Planet Fitness or Anytime Fitness, where it's really hard to keep people socially distanced, and then you have boutique gyms that can train people and kind of guide the flow of traffic. And she said, well, I never thought of that. It's like,
oh, good.
This is the problem.
Yeah.
I feel like it's Iraq, like 2008, where we've gone in and we've ousted Saddam, and there's no exit strategy. We're just kind of hanging out and waiting.
You're all on your own.
Right.
Yeah.
No one came up with a plan for this. So.
And there's no, I guess, what's the word? Bipartisan or whatever.
No.
Not political. Just like something that's just neutral voice giving you direction, right? Democrats will say this, Republicans will say that, whoever, and then people have their own voice and opinions, and it's like creating more angst and kind of divide than I think it should, versus hey, we're all kind of effed,
right?
Because we are.
Because we are, and in a way, for whatever reason. And I haven't seen anybody. We're being very reactive, which I get and I totally understand given what's happening. But hopefully there will be some sort of action after this is over, and to actually find out the root cause of it, right? I know it's going to be difficult because it happened somewhere else.
Yeah. Somewhere else with a government that isn't into
letting people
people know.
Yeah, but at least make an attempt and make that attempt at least public. Maybe just for like, hey, good faith effort on our part that we try to go into China or whatever.
Yeah, because how is this 2020 and this is happening?
Yeah, it's been kind of happening a repeated number of times, and it's just always very active. Great, we get through it, we're better for it, but and then it seems to be kind of like history repeats itself in a sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it seems to just be.
And we're not prepared for history 100 years later.
Yeah,
right? After the Spanish
like,
flu.
Yeah, like at a grander scale.
Right.
I was reading about the Spanish flu last night, and the numbers were insane.
Insane. Absolutely crazy. Yeah.
And I don't know how they dealt with it back then. I don't know.
Well, people lived in squalor.
Yeah.
I mean, so they didn't deal with it.
Do you guys remember
masks.
H1N1?
Yeah.
When that came out?
That wasn't.
I don't,
mean, it wasn't a
but
big deal.
yeah.
I mean, I remember when it came out, and everyone was sort of scared that it was going to become what Corona has become, but it never did.
But it seemed it was way deadlier. It just wasn't as.
It wasn't as contagious.
Right.
I don't know about deadliness of it. I don't know about morbidity, but contagion-wise, Corona is that much worse, which obviously that's why it spread so much.
Yeah. I personally believe that this was here a long time ago. I think it's been here since the fall, and I think that's why we thought we had such a horrible flu season. You know that.
Oh, okay.
People were getting this a long time ago, and I'm hoping that they do antibody testing soon because I would like to take part in that.
And this baffles me. Like we have this technology, we've been to fucking outer space like 40 years ago, and.
So my theory on this, so LA County, which is one of the biggest counties, if not the biggest county in the United States, is doing it, and they found, I think they've tested up to 400,000 people who have already had it, and most of them had no idea that they had it.
Yeah.
And I think if they do here, because they couldn't figure out why they weren't getting this big surge that they expected to get. And that, they thought, well, at least we already had it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm wondering if they do that here. Man, if they do that here, I wonder what kind of blowback the government's going to get for it.
Mm-hmm.
Because let's say we actually hit our peak in January or February, and they didn't close the state down until March, even though it's understandable, you don't know what's happening. But you technically closed the state down for nothing, and now all these people are out of work, and people are jumping off buildings, and
yeah, it's not a good situation. I don't envy DeWine, right?
No.
And I don't even. I'm not his biggest fan, but I probably don't even envy Trump
to
be
in
this.
I didn't even know who the governor was
until now. Neither did I. Right, and all of a sudden, like, man,
party.
we see him every day.
Yeah.
I'm not sure they don't get off a little bit on that. Every day, everyone's tuning into my 2 p.m.
We watched one of his press conferences, and it was.
We're just like, this is it.
It is so weird to watch, like, or even like talk shows, like when it's just the anchor or the host, and there's no feedback
audience,
or
right?
audience.
Yeah.
It's just such a weird thing to watch. It's definitely not as funny.
No.
Because nobody else is laughing. I'm like, should I be laughing now?
Yeah.
Oh, for like comedy shows.
Yeah.
I listened to one of them, and it was the day that he was going to reopen the state, and it was like they're giving you cliffhangers.
That's the same one we watched.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, he's just trying to make it all sound so normal. He's trying to like make jokes.
Yeah, and I think the doctor got the Person of the Year award, but yeah, strange times, man. I haven't experienced anything like this.
Yeah.
Hopefully we don't again while we're alive.
I don't think anyone has experienced anything like this.
Yeah.
Thankfully.
I was right before, so I think I got this in February when I got home from vacation. We were on a cruise ship. It was filled with Chinese tourists, You're
such a racist.
Yeah, I didn't call it the Kung Flu. I just said there's a lot of Chinese tourists on it. But I think I got it. And where was I going with this before you rudely interrupted me?
You were feeling ill?
Yeah, well, yeah. So I thought I had it, but it just right before we went on the cruise, I was reading Dan Carlin's book, and it's called "The End Is Always Near," and there was this huge chapter on global pandemics and how we're so due for one, and it was all about the Spanish flu and the bubonic plague and all this stuff. And some of it is so dark, which if you listen to Carlin can get really dark. And I'm reading this book and doing it in his voice, like when he quotes somebody, he goes, then they went down. And I'm reading this, and then literally we get back from vacation, and this stuff starts. And I'm watching it on the cruise ship. Like, I'm in the gym working out, and they've got CNN on, and they're showing Chinese people with masks on and all this stuff. And I'm like, here we go again. Another H1N1, another some, you know, I've lived through now COVID, H1N1, SARS, AIDS, Ebola, you know, avian flu, the West Nile virus, and it's like, all right, here we go, another one. But they really took this one seriously, and
But it's been worse. Like everyone, like more recently, each of one has been more progressively worse, so to speak, right? Depending on what figures or numbers you're using to evaluate the impact of each of those. I mean, I think this one's obviously this would still be the worst, right? I was actually listening to he hasn't put out he has 2 podcasts. He hasn't put out Hardcore History in a while.
No, he does the addendum.
But he did. He put out an episode of Uncommon Sense.
He did?
Yeah.
When?
Just like recently, right?
How do you not know?
Yeah,
I stopped subscribing to that because I thought he wasn't doing it anymore.
No,
See?
and it just and so yeah, out of the blue, I think he hadn't put out an episode for like a year, right?
Yeah.
And then he put one out, and this is what he was talking
just
about.
to keep you guessing.
And he was playing it to both sides, if there are sides, or all sides, right, of the argument, and whichever argument that might be, and just trying to be neutral. So that if there is if I've heard a neutral voice, that's probably his, because he's
that's why he quit, because he was, whenever he would talk about a subject, if he leaned too far to the right, the left would jump on him, and then if he leaned too far to the left, the right, and he was like, I can't win no matter what I do, and that's why he stopped doing those.
But it was solid information, because he tried to take an outsider's point of view as much as possible. That, hey, you know, quit this fucking bullshit, so to speak. Quit this jibber jabbering, and you know, come up with a uniform solution. And he like called it, and this was like 2 months ago.
Yeah.
Like this is what might happen if we don't come together, right? And he called it. And it's funny, we watched like a TED talk from Bill Gates, you know, if you're a fan or not,
after
or whatever.
Ebola.
After Ebola, and then, you know,
he kind of predicted
this, and it's, you know, and the I guess the ironic thing is like the preventative measures are so trivial, so to speak, in terms of, you know, washing your hands and doing all that.
Basic guidelines to be a non-disgusting person.
Yeah, right.
Pretty basic.
And yet, I guess that means a lot of us are pretty disgusting.
I think a lot of people are disgusting, which is the problem, you know. So I didn't shake your guys' hands when you came in, but if someone sticks their hands out, I shake their hands, and then I don't put them in my face. You know, and next time I'm near a sink, I wash my hands. It's just common sense, and you know, spraying down your equipment when you're done with it, or you know, just not being on top of people in the bank line or in the grocery store line. And these are all...
Yeah, I mean, we're used to like being close to people when we're talking and breathing on them. Like, here, take some of my stuff.
Or like covering your mouth when you cough.
Covering your
or
mouth,
sneeze,
right?
Yeah,
Right, that kind
don't
of
just like go,
stuff. Well, and that was one of the things where so there were certain hotbeds. So, you know, Wuhan and China obviously got pummeled. Italy got pummeled. But one of the things about the Chinese people, there's a couple things. So number one is many of them are smokers. Number two, you have multi-generational generations living in the same house. Right. But number three, they have I've heard this from many people who've traveled over there, that they don't have the same personal space issues that we do in more Western countries. They're right on top of you. They run into you. They just, and it's just because the cities are so packed. They're used to being right on top of each other. And Italy has a lot of those same issues. You know, it's a country where everyone's packed up.
Well, you know, those Italians, they're very
they want to love you. Yeah, they want to love you.
My father's side was very kissy. They're always pulling you in. Yeah. But a lot of smokers, poor healthcare system, living in, like, grandma living with the kids, and, you know, just everybody in the same house. So, you know, New York
similar,
in the, you know, into these places. But I saw someone was praising the governor of South Dakota for opening up are not closing their state down, but that's South Dakota.
South Dakota,
There's
like
no-
5
Nobody
people
living
living there.
there,
Yeah.
I've been to South Dakota.
Yeah.
There's nothing
It's a
there.
field. Yeah.
Or just like some of the Scandinavian countries, I guess. I think
Sweden,
Sweden
I
is,
think,
is
yeah.
one, and
Yeah.
besides like southern Sweden, like Stockholm and some other large municipalities. I mean, it's not much there,
Right.
For what I know.
I mean, the population density is much. Yeah, obviously U.S. is up there.
Yeah.
Sweden's probably not.
And I don't really know their situation now, but they took different measures, and I think they will continue to do so.
I think if they would have gotten pummeled, we would be hearing about it left
Yeah,
and right.
yeah. And different. I guess the poster child for reacting okay, quote unquote, or doing the right thing, quote unquote, is like New Zealand, right? But the same thing, population density, right? Like geographic.
What did they do? I don't even know what they did.
They shut down everything right away, like literally shut down everything. There wasn't like, with US, it's you leave and it doesn't seem that much different, like if you're driving around, right?
I can't go to restaurants or bars. That's
pretty much it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there it's like similar to what you saw like pictures of Italy when they shut them down. It's like it was a ghost town, right?
Yeah.
And they came out of it pretty well, pretty clear. But again, it's very, I think, cultural based, and what people expect from their government too.
Yeah, and that's one of the problems. I am amazed that we locked down as much as we did here, because I mean, this is a country filled with people who don't want to play by the rules. They want to do their own thing. That's why generations earlier people came here. They didn't want to play by the rules, and I'm amazed that people shut down as much as they did.
And people are opinionated.
Yes.
Right, so they feel that their opinion deserves to be heard, and much of the world that's not the case.
Yeah.
Like I think where you're from, where I'm from, some of the Japanese countries, did I just say that? Yeah. Asian countries, like Japan, there's a certain sense of, well, if my opinion is correct, then I deserve to be heard, not just, I'm just saying a bunch of shit.
Right.
And yeah, you need to hear me.
Right.
So that was actually really impressive, I think, in US, that people took a step back and said, okay, if that's the recommendation, then yeah, we'll play by the rules for whatever, 3-4 weeks. And I think that helped. Well, it looks like it helped, based on what we're seeing.
It's just so hard, because I was skeptical at first, living with Aaron.
Yeah.
I started hearing all the shit they were going through at the VA to get ready for this. So they were putting up COVID wings and hoarding equipment and yada, 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 all this stuff. And she was in full DEFCON 4, ready to go. And then boom, nothing happened. So she was like, okay, but I'm still listening because Erin's a nurse and she knows what's going on. And as it goes on and on and on, I'm getting more and more skeptical, but I'm still playing by the rules, which, I think most people did, was even if they were skeptical, they still played by the rules. And the thing is you're listening to politicians where 6 months ago, all of us would have went, fuck this guy, I'm not listening to this guy.
Right,
Who's he?
Yeah.
Now we're all kind of listening, and
I don't have a choice, right? Because no one knows. This is one of those things where it's sort of a sense of an alternate reality, right? To me, that this is happening, and it's happening to all of us, like the entire world. Like I would never have thought of that in my kind of worst imagination, that this would happen. We missed our UK trip. We're so sad.
We don't have any travel stories.
What do you guys have contacts back in Poland or Russia?
That's a great question.
Do they? What's going on? I haven't.
It was at least in Russia, from what I've heard, everything was fine, and then they have a lot of people will take medications on their own, like antivirals. There's like an antiviral now that's being researched. No, just some random shit,
antibiotics.
Right?
No, seriously.
Antivirals, very different from antibiotics.
My bad.
Two different things you're killing.
So people would just take that and see if that will help them. So there's that attitude of, well, I'm going to try to I'm on my own here. I'm going to try to protect myself. But they didn't seem that affected.
Yeah.
But again, population density is not there.
Right.
I mean, the town I lived in, I think, had like
People.
3,000 people.
We were joking about
Well,
this.
granted, I mean,
Yeah.
I didn't live in the most populated area.
Well, but it's also, going back to the government, the ruling party, right? What are they revealing too, right? How bad was it really in China, right?
Right.
How
Right.
bad
And
is
I'm
it?
guessing
Yeah,
Putin
who
isn't
knows?
going to come out with a lot of.
Like, oh, we're so screwed.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, he did. I think one of his first conferences was like, "Oh, this is going to be bad," actually.
Yeah.
And it was actually surprising. But we're joking about it, like Vlad's not going to let it go. Like he's not going to let Russia seem like it's not reacting well to it.
Right.
I have such a problem because I hate that guy so much.
Yeah, me
He's
too.
such a fucking gangster,
Right?
and I wish
Yeah.
that. I don't know. I'm sure he does shady things, but I'm sure we do shady things, and I just, it would be nice to be able to elect a president here. Not that I think he was probably totally legitimately elected, but it would be nice to
Never,
elect a
yeah.
president here who was a black belt in judo and was an ex-military
Like, seemed
guy.
like he could,
A man.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Versus.
we haven't elected
yeah,
a
don't say
man
it.
in
Yeah.
forever, and it drives me nuts. But
I saw a T-shirt recently. I think Teddy Roosevelt.
oh, I love Teddy.
I mean, I don't know if he was the last one, but that's coming off the top of my head. He's like the Rough Riders, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the only thing.
So, Mark, if you had to elect a woman president, out of all the female politicians that you know of, is there one?
Tulsi Gabbard. I think she would be so
Tulsi,
ideal
really?
for this time. So, first of all, I don't think you should be allowed to run for president if you didn't serve in the military. You're going to become commander-in-chief. You should have some background.
Yeah, I mean, teaches discipline at the very least.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Tulsi I think she did 2 tours in Iraq, and she was a nurse in Iraq. So I think she would have been ideally suited for this. And she was just, I've heard her talk, she's just so measured. And, I didn't like a lot of Obama's policies, but at least I was never embarrassed by Obama. He never embarrassed me. When he got
To such
elected.
extent. Well,
Well, I can't really. I don't know enough to speak
I don't
to
have any
Trump's
words.
policies. I just don't know enough
Right.
because I don't pay
Yeah,
attention.
but no,
he
just a
does
simple human
embarrass me.
dignity, right?
Yeah.
Just to be a polite person, a well-spoken person. It doesn't take much.
No.
I don't think it does, but
And if you don't have it, just keep your mouth shut. Just.
I don't read the prompter.
Yeah.
So if you were to vote right now, Tulsi or Trump, you go Tulsi.
I'd go Tulsi. Yeah.
Okay.
You had that answer ready. I like that. You thought about it.
I told
Yeah.
Aaron, I haven't voted for a president. I haven't voted for anybody in years because, again, you have to get somebody who's going to inspire me.
Mm-hmm.
But I told Aaron that if she won the Democratic primary, I would vote for her. And as soon as she got on Kamala Harris's ass, they were like, okay, we can't have this girl doing this, and then all of a sudden she's out of the race.
Yeah, it's also interesting watching. Paying as little attention as I do. Again, being ignorant politically,
I am too.
There was so much fervor in terms of there's so much diversity. Buttigieg, Tulsi.
Mm-hmm. See, as soon as Tulsi got out, I got out, so I don't even know anything about Buttigieg.
So there was, but no,
I
in
think
terms
he
of
was
diversity,
just-
he's the first, potential gay candidate, right? And so you have different races, different, sexual orientations, that everybody, and then it always ends up
With two old white men.
Two old white men.
Well, the Democrats are screwed because Biden is falling apart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's a zombie at this point. You're basically running a zombie against Trump, and Trump's going to eat him alive because.
He lives upside.
Because that's his bread and butter.
Yes.
Yeah. Bread and butter.
He's like,
Yeah.
It's like he takes the energy away out of
He does. He's an energetic vampire. He
Yes.
is. It's a thing.
Yeah. So it's going to be interesting when it plays out. And
Yeah.
actually, I'm interested how they're going to run it now, with obviously within the landscape of Corona,
Right.
how they're going to do the election, right?
Well, so again, I don't know policies. I know that my 401k was through the roof before Corona, and now it's taking a shit.
Yeah.
So
Yep, that didn't feel good.
Economically, he must have been doing something right. And now the line's going to be, well, the country's in the hole. But,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, economics are complicated,
Yes.
right? So, I don't know. I mean, I don't know. 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 I to attribute all of that to Trump is difficult, right? But maybe in some sense he could. I don't know.
He could inspire. I think he inspired.
He inspired confidence, right? He inspired confidence because he was sort of a businessman. That's in quotation marks.
And that's what it is.
And that's what it is. Something. Right. Yeah. And then that's how economy grows, is by giving confidence to companies and maybe to consumers in some sense, I guess. Yeah, and we're making money. Now we're not.
Yeah.
Damn it.
And we kept spending because of the house, right?
Yeah.
So we were feeding the economy. But like some conspiracy theories, I mean, like Bezos is making a killing.
Bezos got a lot of my money during this war.
Right.
Oh, yeah,
it's just
does,
like,
yeah.
so who's, and I think I was telling TR.
Everybody's getting a lot of money, like books, and I'm buying guns. And I'm just, what am I, I bought a revolver last week. I don't need a revolver.
Yeah.
I just,
it'd be nice to have one.
Yeah, we were talking about TR and Pete, and it's like, there's always somebody making a buck off of something that's horrible, right? And I don't know if it's his intentional or not. I mean, he does look like a evil guy from a movie.
Bezos does, yeah.
Like a Lex Luthor type of looking dude. But like, they're making a killing, man. And I mean, obviously, we wouldn't be able to get a lot of the stuff that we've been able to get because of Amazon. And obviously,
can Amazon just save our economy?
Yeah, but I don't know. I think a little altruism goes a long way. And I guess maybe this is like a socialist agenda or whatever you want to call it, but I don't know if there's a lot of wealthy individuals that, I don't know, some people did put an effort and their money and towards a resolution, be it a vaccine, mask, like Rogue Fitness, those guys.
What did they do?
So they
I have no idea.
Yeah. So I think as soon as they this started becoming worse and worse, they created manufacturing lines to create masks and other protective gear.
Okay, cool.
Versus making more.
Well, you know what?
Barbells and plates.
The way my brain works is that how would they keep money? How would they keep making money? There's no demand for barbells and plates.
Well, there is, because of the every home gyms, right? People can go to gyms.
Oh, you can't get shit off Rogue right now.
Yeah, because
Is that why? Because then they were making
lift.
masks.
Just keep it down.
Yeah.
They're ruining our games so people have masks.
Yeah. But
and then you buy $100 barbells.
I mean, there's a trade-off, but they're still making money either way. But at least they've shifted. They actually donated a lot of it too for free, right, to like first responders and whatnot. So I don't know. Maybe I don't know what you can do with all that money. I don't know.
Well, okay, so there's a good point. So Elon shifted gears and they started making respirators, and they're not. I know he took some heat from CNN because they weren't actually the ones that you get intubated, but they're like CPAP BiPAPs. So basically the stuff I sleep with. But there's a guy who turned on a dime on his own, started making this stuff, and all these people are thanking him for it. If you had an Elon Musk type character, and I know he's not from this country, so he can't technically run, but there would be a guy who would inspire me to go, oh, I'd vote for this guy because I trust him to be smart enough to do shit, to get stuff done. Why in a nation of 360 million people we get to pick from Trump or Hillary or Trump and Biden is beyond me, because there's
nobody
so
wants the job.
Nobody wants the job.
Nobody smart wants that job.
Yeah.
It'll kill you, and you're under such scrutiny. I mean, if you had some Jocko Willink type guy, what's his name? No, I won't be able to remember his name. The guy who's the SEAL with the eye patch. I can't remember his name. But anyhow, he's a senator. And he's got the background, but he toes the party line too heavily for me to be able to vote for him. And when he's against the legalization of marijuana. I wish I could remember his goddamn name now. I've been hitting the head too.
Is he the gentleman that was on Rogan?
Yes.
I know who you're talking about. I don't get his name either,
I can't
but
remember his name.
I think there was a big controversy. Like SNL made fun of him.
What was it? What?
Controversy.
He likes to say it like that. Yeah.
Controversy.
Yeah, they made fun of him for the guy. The comedian was kind of a tasteless thing.
Yeah, but I
But he took it very well.
Yeah.
Does he swing a little more on the right side than you'd like him to?
So one of the things was the first thing that got me was that in a podcast way before this, he was talking about how he was against the legalization of marijuana, and at this stage of the game, to be
come on,
still
like,
call it
that's
a
old
gateway
news.
drug,
Yeah.
and that you're not being intellectually honest. You're probably don't want to piss off the pill companies, and you know. And when I heard that, I was like, oh God. And then when Rogan was pushing him a little bit on the healthcare issue, he didn't have a lot of great answers for that. You know, if you're going to take a stand that, you know, you shouldn't give healthcare to people, you know, you should have some kind of backing for that other than...
Right, there better be a good answer. Because
Yeah.
how do you not... I don't know how people defend that now, to be honest.
So
I don't know.
I would like to see healthcare
Money, I
for
guess.
everybody.
Yeah, I'm right there with you.
But I also want some stipulations. Like, you know, if the three of us decide that we're going to go on the government health care, I think we're a pretty good bet. We're healthy, we eat well, we take care of ourselves, we're very health conscious, yada, yada, yada. But then you see all these people dying of coronavirus who, one of the main reasons they're dying from coronavirus is because they're smoking and they're in line at McDonald's and they're not exercising. And so I think there definitely should be some discounts available for us as opposed to these other people, or some kind of, they have to pay more in taxes than we do. You know, there's got to be some kind of scale with it, because to give health care to all Americans might be a nightmare, because I think
It's a lot of Americans.
It's a lot of Americans, and a lot of Americans who don't take care of themselves.
Yeah.
You know, they're vaping, they're taking heroin, they're, you know, in line at McDonald's. I mean, the lines at McDonald's have been around the block still, even though they're saying, this is killing fat people, stop it, and they're still in line at McDonald's.
Yeah, no, there was a notion that obesity was not a comorbidity. Yes, it is.
Yeah.
That's Corona proved it.
Yeah, they're
quite
saying
a bit.
80% of the people that are dying in New York are obese.
Yeah, well, I mean, they probably have sleep apnea in the first place, and they probably have COPD, and just the anatomy of that region is not in its best, I guess, position, right? So then, these people have to be intubated.
Yeah.
And then there you go, there's your ventilator that another person can't use.
Just curing my sleep apnea in 2000, God, I've been doing that since 2007. That made such a difference. The way I stopped getting sick, I started
Probably
feeling
feel
better.
better,
You know, I was getting proper sleep at night. It was just, like I said, I've been hitting the head a lot of times, but you know, your mental clarity was a lot better. It was a lifesaver, and I think the doctor told me that any guy with a 19-inch neck or bigger should be on one, whether they think they wake up in the middle of the night or not.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of people.
Yeah.
You don't want to die and you're, drown in your own neck fat. That's basically what's happening.
So ironically enough, I gave him some credit earlier, but I don't know how many people did this, but once New Zealand opened, one of the hottest places to go to was McDonald's. There were like lines out the ass. But I don't know if you're aware, and I don't know how much they do this still, is that McDonald's also caters their menu to the region,
country,
the
right?
country and the region
Oh,
that they're.
no, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so.
What the fuck they eat in New Zealand? Lambs?
Sheep.
Baked potato,
sheep.
I guess.
Yeah, but it might be a healthier version of McDonald's,
Right.
but it'll just that I remember that.
I remember the first McDonald's. I was like 13. I saw that, and we were like visiting St. Petersburg or in Moscow or something. I was like, oh my God, that's the McDonald's. And I had a baked potato there because they didn't have fries.
Really?
Yeah, this was years ago, of course. I'm sure they
Wendy's,
now
I think,
have.
does baked potato.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
who eats
but
baked
if
potato?
next time when you get a chance to travel, go to a McDonald's. in a
Yeah,
different
just check out the
country,
menu.
Yeah.
See what they have in Iceland if you ever go back or wherever, right?
I don't know if I saw one in Iceland. I saw Kentucky Fried Chicken. They were huge on Kentucky Fried Chicken.
Yeah, all the
Yeah.
gas stations.
All the gas
Not all
stations.
the,
Hot
the
dogs
three
and
gas
gas
stations.
stations.
Yeah.
I don't remember
yeah.
if there were any.
Gas stations in Iceland are a
McDonald's.
whole different world, though, than gas stations
Very interesting
here.
places.
It was like one of our favorite
Yeah.
stops.
Yeah.
The gas station.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm buying like Iceland swim trunks and stocking caps, and Aaron's eating
I mean,
hot
you never know
dogs.
what you'll need. We bought something weird at a gas station in Iceland once. I can't remember
I
what
think it
it
was just
is.
like snacks, but it's one of the things that the response in the U.S. I think and reminds me of is the kind of the European way of life, right? Stores were rarely open past a certain time, right? You stores were never really packed with people, like, and a little bit less dense because people shop more often, right? They wouldn't necessarily go every week or every 2 weeks and stock up on food, but you just kind of come in every day, get a little something and go, right?
Yeah, everything's fresh that way.
Exactly, right? And they just kind of slow things down a bit, right? In a good way,
Yeah, and I have to say, as an introvert, this has been really nice. I don't want to say nice.
No, I get it.
But you know what I mean.
Yeah.
In that sense that everyone slowed down to like my level.
If it wasn't for the gym closing, I would be fine with this.
Yeah.
I'd be fine.
Yeah.
What have you been doing? I mean, I know you're still working out.
It's tough.
Shopping. He's been shopping for guns.
Yeah.
Guns.
Yeah. Mostly guns.
So getting this place together was a lot of work, and I did most of it in stealth mode, so that the members didn't know, because I kind of wanted it. Originally, it was going to be a big surprise, and we were going to have a big member appreciation party, and it was basically like, hey, thank you for sticking with us during this. Here's a big party in a brand new gym. Well, when they kept moving the deadline back, and then I thought, we can't really have a party because you're not allowed to be near each other.
Yeah.
So
it's a weird
we just
party.
kind of announced it. But I went full housewife mode. So like I have like a list of cleaning stuff I do every day. It was actually brutal because this is so the week this happened, or the day that they closed this down. So I've had a job since I was 14. I've always worked. I actually lied about being older to get a job when I was 14. So as soon as it happened and closed down, and you have that identity for yourself your whole life, that you not only do you work, but you bust your ass and you just put in all the work because you're going to be successful by outworking everybody. So now the brakes get put on, and I'm like, what the fuck do I do now? So I'm sitting there, and normally my day is class, workout, do something, like errand wise, go out and get whatever I need for the day, and then, go back to class, and then teach some more classes, and then come day, and then I can crash. So I'm sitting there on the couch in the middle of the day going, I don't know what the fuck to do, and I've already cleaned the house, and this is like day one.
Clean it again.
So day one, I cleaned the house.
This could be rough. Yeah.
And I don't know what to do. So, it's like, okay, so now I'm not providing for my family either because I'm not allowed to work. And so I went upstairs, and you get cash from the house or from the gym. Someone buys something for cash and you just throw it. So I like go in to this little drawer thing, and I've got like $2,000 in there, and I like grab it all up, and then I come down, and this is where it got brutal, but I brought it all down, and Erin comes home, and it's sitting on the counter, and she's like, what's this? And I go, that's every dime I have. And she's like, what? I said, well, that's all the cash I could find. And she's like, why is it here? I go, well, that's for you. And she's like, why? And I go, because I can't work anymore, and this is the only thing I can provide. So, I'll get you more. And she's looking at me, and I'm like in tears, like they're just like streaming down my face. And, she's like, I know she wanted to say, you idiot, we have joint accounts and you have the gym money. But I was like bad. Like I didn't know what to do. And, so then, every once in a while I get mad. One of the things I hate about myself is I get mad and I have no idea why I'm mad. So I'll just be pissed off and I don't know why. So we had, and I'm trying to be supportive too, because she's about to deal with what I think is the coming plague. And,
next apocalypse,
She's 100% sure she's going to get it because she's working in the hospital. So, but then every once in a while I'm pissed, and I'm pissed because my gym's closed, and I don't, I'm just being nasty because I have nothing to do and nothing to spend my time on. And I've done it, ever since, a couple other times I've done this where I've collected cash from her and given it to her, and she just shakes her head and puts it in a drawer, But, it was just really weird. So, And then, for a while there, I was like working out 3 times a day, and it was crazy. So, but yeah, that's what I've been doing with myself.
No, that's
Dealing with
huge,
mental
man.
illness.
Yeah, and that's when it rears its ugly
Let's go
head.
down a rabbit
I've
hole,
had a
yeah.
couple moments, quite a few, more than a couple moments, and I still go to work. Thank God.
Yeah, you're still going?
I'm
Yeah.
a PA, so I mean, I've also had weeks where I would go to 3 different hospitals. Well, not recently, but 2 more recently. So there was that fear of getting it, but then at the same time, like, well, what else am I gonna do?
Yeah.
But the fear of us both being sick.
Right.
And if one person is sick, the other one can take care of you, and vice versa. But if you're both kind of SOL, then. But just I don't know what I would have done if I couldn't go to work. Because there's that sense of, well, this is my worth in society
Right.
is based on me as a producer of a service, right? And if I'm not doing that, then what am I doing with
Yeah.
myself,
Yeah.
right? I don't know if you've had that. You're impervious to
No,
those
I
types of
just-
things, aren't you?
I'm relatively now these days. I'm laid back, right?
Yeah.
And for the most part, I do have my moments of anger and frustration and annoyance and whatnot. But I don't see Alina's self-worth tied to that.
I don't think other people
No,
see it
yeah.
in you. You see it
It's
in
you see in
yourself.
yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's for me, it's like difficult at times, more often than not, to.
But have you had those moments towards yourself? Have
No,
you,
and that's probably
yeah.
one of the reasons that
Yeah.
it's very difficult for me to be.
Well, fancy that.
It comes up again.
Aren't you a healthy
But
person?
like
Fuck
you're
you.
more like.
Alina and I will be
Leave.
over here
Yeah, you
driving
go away.
ourselves crazy
You go
while
away.
you are.
Yeah.
Well, and so I guess on kind of. So I think Alina is more than a PA, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, we
Right.
all
No,
are.
she's my-
If
she's
I
my-
thought about it, yes, I
Yeah.
know that.
Yeah, she's my best friend, wife, beautiful, loyal. You're more than just the gym, right? And they kind of you keep peeling that back, and so it's for me. I guess I don't share your guys' plight, so to speak.
Right.
It's too bad for people who are single, who are like stuck living on their own,
Yeah.
and they can't see their loved ones who would be there to support them and tell them, hey, you're being an idiot giving me all this money.
Right.
What are you doing?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I've been able to stay busy too. Like we've, like I mentioned them before, TRP, myself, and then Heather. We've been kind of behind the scenes, kind of moving along for Black Flag, and we're still technically, we're not going to the gym, but we're still working. We're still programming, right? For Barbell Club, I'm still communicating with the athletes. They're still training as much as they can given their situation, right? From home or from not, if they're doing CrossFit classes, great. But we're still trying to provide value in that sense, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I guess maybe I think of it maybe differently than.
And that's what Aaron kept saying is that, well, you're doing the workout every morning at 8 with people. You're putting out online programming. You've rented out all your equipment or loaned out all your equipment. And I go, yeah, I get it, but
It's
I want
different.
to open my
It's different.
gym,
Yeah.
be the captain of my ship, and
Like
let
the
people come
physical
in.
reality of
Yes.
it is not there,
Yeah.
right? And I guess it just goes to show how much we're all on autopilot every day of our lives, that we're kind of plugging along, doing
Sure.
our thing, and then when it stops, we just don't know what to do with ourselves. Our mind is sort of on its own, and it's thinking its own thoughts. It's not, you can't distract yourself
Yeah.
by going to work all day. Don't cry.
I'm
You'll
not
be okay.
crying. No, these are. I again. I share the same opinion. I see it differently internally. I
Yeah.
internalize it differently than you guys do.
Oh, that's really good.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean,
And I think.
you're not a neurotic person.
Yeah, maybe I express it through maybe anger or annoyance, and I lash out at
Yes, you do.
at
Yes, you
Alina versus I don't know, a different way. It's
Well,
somebody
and that's
else.
the
Yeah.
other thing is
Yeah.
I'll lash out at Aaron because Aaron's the only one around.
Yeah.
She's just in the crosshairs,
Yeah. And she's probably just like, what the hell
Yeah.
happened to you?
Well, and
Yeah.
God bless her. Like I said,
Yeah.
I've had, you guys would not have liked me in 2011. Like,
Well,
Yeah.
I don't know that because her and I talk about this all the time, and she would not have liked me, my previous self
Sure,
either. We
right.
might have actually been great friends.
Right. Yeah.
Well, and like we are now.
Right.
But maybe our significant
Just a
others
different
might not have.
relationship. Yeah.
And that's
Yeah.
the thing is, you find someone who's worth changing things for. But I started I started to really look into my personality and trying to deal with that. Why are you pissed off? You know, but yeah, Erin gets a lot of the time. She gets the crosshairs because she happens to be there. Now, Erin is very easy. Erin gets nuts too, but she's very easy to avoid when it's coming. I know when it's coming. You don't talk to Erin before 9 o'clock in the morning. You just don't talk to her because she's horrible. You know, I jump out of bed, I'm ready to go, and she's like, "Fuck you." So, but you know, I avoid her in the mornings because I don't want to get into a fight. You know, so but I'm more of a there's no reason. It's like I'm always got the you know the pin in the grenade is just barely in there all the time, and you're just trying to like get it over to another counter before it falls out, and you never know what's going to make it fall out.
There's so my professor here, my teacher, and I think I'm doing better listening. And whenever we come on the podcast and the show, we talk about this.
We talk about our weaknesses.
Our weaknesses.
Yeah. Our character weaknesses.
Yeah. And I think my character weaknesses are improving every time we see each other.
That's a character weakness too.
Well, to make you a regular
just
weekly
kidding,
visit.
Therapy with Mark. Couples therapy with Mark. No, but I think one of the things I'm doing better is feedback again, and I'm not great. But taking her feedback. But what I'm getting better is her book recommendations that might have the same feedback, and reading those books. And then implementing that same thing.
Like self-help type books?
Oh, so there's a great book.
Yeah, relationships. Yeah. So.
By the way, Here Are Defeats? Is that the one you recommended?
Yes.
I loved that book. That was fantastic.
That was a totally random pickup at the library. I
don't know where.
I like the cover.
Yeah.
Have the books that are good. Yeah.
It was wonderful. Go ahead. Book recommendations.
Book recommendations. Alain
de Botton.
Alain de Botton.
He's a British, French sounding name, but he's a British. I would call him a philosopher, I guess. It's a book called The School of Life.
And the second one's actually really good too.
The second one is more on a novel of love, something like that. It's more about like romantic relationships.
Yeah.
Where The School of Life is more about your friendships, your love life, your work life, and just sort of a kind of a no nonsense, common sense advice. I mean, you have to read it. It's a I don't want to say it's a thick book, but it's
a quick read though. Like you would get through it in a day.
I'll have to remember.
And it's very the wording to me is just it's beautiful. I enjoyed reading it really, and I think he picked it up because we can't go to the library.
We can't go to the library.
We're very sad.
So I was like.
So I've had this book from the library, so he picked up and read it, and it's really good.
It's been very difficult. I know we're talking about this. Yeah. It's very difficult for me to latch onto a fiction book.
Right.
And even though these aren't fiction books per se, I think the second one about the novel about romance and about what happens after marriage, and kind of your true love and your love at first sight, reads like a non-fiction book in a fiction way a little bit, and then with kind of just interludes of his philosophy and his teachings, and then School of Life is it kind of grabs you. But it's that same way. It's got a lot of pictures. I'm not just kidding. No, it's a fantastic. I didn't think I would enjoy it as much as I did.
Yeah.
Given things like, hey, how do you argue?
Or why do you argue?
Or why do you argue?
Or like why you get angry, right?
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be nice if there was someone there as you're growing up to teach you these things. But how many of us are that lucky?
Yeah.
Very few. Right, so I mean, it's nice sometimes to, at the ripe old age of 32, to find a book that does provide some of that.
Well, that's really good because I didn't start self-examination until I was 39. And we really tried to raise Hayden differently than Erin and I were raised. And I think he's got way more tools than we had. Just because of it. Erin was raised in a very, they're Presbyterian, I think, or something like that. I don't know, but a very you do things the right way, and you get straight A's, and you have to be perfect, and you can't embarrass us, and that kind of stuff. And then, my family was all about, back and forth with the, Italian yelling at each other. Even when they're not mad, they're yelling at each other. And
It's just
it's just a different, a different way of doing. And then, some of the things like, like if Erin's in the kitchen doing the dishes, and I walk up behind her and smack her in the ass, that I never would have seen that growing up from my parents. But Hayden sees it, and it's just totally normal to him, And I think it gives him hopefully it will give him a better understanding of sexuality, as opposed to what we got, which was, do it in the dark, don't get caught.
Don't talk about it. It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Right. And then people still have to express it, and they don't know how to.
They don't know how, right.
And then they're screwed.
Yeah.
The same gentleman,
Not
the
in a
same
good
author,
way,
has a fantastic TED Talk. I don't know, no, that's not a TED Talk. I think it's just a talk.
Oh, the one I made you watch twice, and the first time you almost fell asleep, and the second time you're like, wow, this is the best thing ever.
So with the Corona thing, my sleep hours have shifted. It used to be like, wake up at 6, and I was like 8, but so you get, 12.
That's ridiculous. No adult human should sleep till 8, Powell.
I'm exaggerating slightly. But no, it's, I think
the TED Talk, by the way, is how you will fall in love, or you will marry the wrong person. Something like that, right?
Yeah.
I think,
Exactly.
But you can find it. It's very good.
Yeah. To your point, I was never punished. The consequences of my actions were my punishment when I was growing up. I think I got punished by my dad once, and it's still vivid. I vividly remember this. This was in the U.S. It was like, I think, the first house that we lived in, and I forget what I did, but the punishment was I had to kneel on beans.
Oh, yeah.
For like.
That's
good.
Cool.
That's good stuff.
Yeah. Right.
I only did that once.
And that was pretty early
Right.
on, and I still remember that. I think I was like 10 or 11, right?
Yeah.
And it was, I think, for like good 45 minutes. And it's not like a can of beans, the soft beans. It's like the dry beans. The dry beans, right?
Yeah.
And I then saw the authority figure in not only him but both my parents. And then I guess maybe, I don't know, naturally, I made the last little mistakes, but then I had to pay the consequences for them by myself. It's not like they bailed me out or anything like that, or I was never grounded. I never had a curfew.
Yeah.
I just kind of wiggled my way around, walking the line, and I'm not saying that's the right way or the wrong way, but I think a lot of the.
Says the person who had to lick deodorant when he got pulled over.
Let's leave that out. Let's leave that in the podcast.
Eastern European punishments are on.
Yeah, no, that was I was trying to get away from a very, very nice police officer that let us.
Had we had too many beverages?
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. Yes, we did. Yeah. But no, I think allowing freedom to make mistakes and feel those mistakes emotionally and physically. If you started a fight with somebody you shouldn't start a fight with, maybe you should get punched in the face.
Yeah.
Or allow somebody to start a fight, right? Growing up, I think somebody asked me this the other day. It's like, because I used to get in fights a lot. Did you win them all? I was like, the older I got, I did. But I just got bigger and I was just smarter. But I always started fights with like friends or people that I knew that were bigger than me for whatever fucking reason that was. I can't explain, but I always got my ass beat on my head crying. and then I went home crying,
right.
and then my parents were like, "All right, you got your ass beat coming."
You learned.
There wasn't really any kind of cuddling and whatnot. So yeah, I think maybe a little bit of freedom as you grow, and this is coming from somebody who doesn't have any kids, obviously, which is.
Is that in
terrible.
the works?
Such personal information.
Hey, you're on the show. I got you trapped.
I mean,
it's always in the works.
Isn't everyone always making kids?
Yeah, I mean,
it's Corona now, so you can't get. I mean, God, it's scary.
Yeah, I mean, we're not intentionally trying.
Right.
We're doing it.
You don't have to have
not trying.
We're not trying. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to me, that's always been a no, I don't want kids. until maybe about the last year, where I feel the pressure, not from other people necessarily, but
kind of like your internal.
It's an internal pressure in terms of, what will I regret more, not having a child or having a child?
You should have a long talk with Erin, because she went through that.
Yeah.
And when we got married, because I had already had a kid, and I basically said, I don't give a fuck. If you want to have another kid, we'll have a kid. If not, whatever. And I left it up to her. And she thought about it, and we had gone on a couple of vacations, and she was like, no, I think I just want to enjoy the rest of my life. I do too.
Yeah. Well, and that's because you already had a kid.
Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, if he came into a relationship with a child, that I probably would not want to have one, because why would I do that to myself?
It's already
Physically.
there. It's already there.
Physically, in terms of, it's not the most pleasant thing, I hear.
But everybody wants you to be miserable like they are.
They do.
You gotta have kids.
They do, right?
You have to have
You
kids.
like sleeping? Well, have a baby, right?
It's her brother, and I've probably told this story a million times. Her brother was very, you gotta have kids. Why don't you have kids? You gotta have kids. And did I tell you this story?
No.
I told it on the podcast before. So he was very, when are you guys gonna have kids? So we're out to dinner on New Year's Eve. Erin loves this story, by the way. We're out to dinner on New Year's Eve, and we're out to dinner, and her brother's there with his girlfriend at the time, and he's giving her the business. When are you gonna have kids? And I'm a couple cocktails in, and he's asking, and she says, well, we're trying. And he goes, well, what are you doing to try? And I looked over and I go, I fuck your sister every chance I get. That was it. Never heard another word from him.
But that's being comfortable with sexuality, right? That's
right.
I mean, we're sexually active. It's
right.
not like we're abstinent so we don't have kids.
Don't tell anyone.
Sorry, it's like we're adults, right?
So what else can you do during the virus?
Right.
Yeah,
people are gonna have all these corona babies.
She's asking.
There's
me.
gonna be a ton of corona babies.
What else are you gonna do?
What is it, 9 months? Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now we're gonna have an issue. Do we have enough, room in hospitals for all these babies?
This is still going on in 9 months.
Well, they're talking about it returning in the fall and winter.
I don't think they know shit.
No, right? No one knows anything.
No. And I hate that. I saw that Fauci, whatever his name is, said, it's inevitable. Well, Amy Acton told us we were going to be 10,000 new people a day, and that was inevitable. And then, it's only going to be 1,600. And then, maybe 400. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But nobody knows anything. And
if you could test, I think that would be a huge step, right, in the right direction.
Yeah.
And make it accessible to everyone. I don't know.
They're probably going to end up getting a vaccine just like flu, and it'll probably be around forever. And every year it'll come back, like I said, but you get the Corona 19 thing. But no, this is Corona 19B, and we made the mistake and we didn't get the right one this year. So that's basically it. I think that's how it'll end up playing out.
So I mean, people who have had it and who survived are sort of lucky, I think, now.
Because they have the antibodies.
Because they have immunity now. Yeah. So.
I like how we went from having sex to
hey, people are dying. Yeah.
Good segue.
Yeah.
Any good books you've read recently?
So I'm reading the James Elliott. Have you heard of James Elliott? He was a author that Jim Wendler recommended, and brutal 1950s, 1960s crime things. And it's linking like the Kennedy assassination and Martin Luther King assassination and Robert Kennedy and all the things that were going on. And it's historical fiction.
Okay.
So it's in the framework of history, but what could have been going on.
Okay, behind the scenes, yeah.
I listened from Audible. I listened to that Chaos. Have you heard about this book? Rogan talks about it every other day. So Chaos, it's a book by Tom O'Neill, and it was about the Manson family.
I saw the post.
Yeah.
It was insane. And this MK Ultra that the CIA was running, and Midnight Climax that they were running. So they were doing
These are different operations?
These are secret operations that they were doing on American citizens. So they were trying to infiltrate. So that they had the FBI had this COINTELPRO, where they were infiltrating the Black Panther Party and putting all these operatives in there to screw them up. Well, the CIA was infiltrating these hippie colonies, and then they were using LSD for mind control and trying to get to the point where you could implant memories into people's heads of things they didn't do. And the doctor who was doing that was also treating Charles Manson at one time, and Charles Manson kept getting arrested and then getting out of jail, and there was like a hands-off policy with the family, and all these things are coming out. And this guy started out writing a magazine piece, and as he got deeper and deeper and deeper into this, it ended up being a 20-year project. So the magazine piece went away, then it became a book, and it took 20 years of gathering information and interviewing people that were still alive, and it's mind-blowing, the stuff that was going on, that like documented shit from the CIA and the FBI, that they were screwing with these people, and it linked into the Kennedy assassination because Jack Ruby was also treated by this guy, and Jack Ruby had no recollection of killing Lee Harvey Oswald, and then he immediately went insane afterwards, and it was...
Everything's connected to the Kennedy assassination.
A lot of stuff's connected to the Kennedy assassination. I don't know what happened there.
You might dig Confessions of an Economic Hitman by John Perkins.
Okay.
I don't think it's not as nuts as Chaos.
Yeah.
But kind of like a lot of behind the scenes in terms of what governments did to get certain kind of projects to basically influence governments in different parts of the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like a lot of stuff that revolves around, money and sex.
Right.
And how that played a part in, how people now feel about the Western world, and it's kind of shit like that.
I'll have to check that one out. Yeah.
So there's a couple recommendations. So.
Yeah, I'm finishing up this James Elliott series. He's got a lot of books, but this was this American tabloid series, and it's like, it came to be almost 1,900 pages between the three books. So it's been a while I've been reading these things. So, but have you? I don't know how much Netflix you watch, but have you guys seen Midnight Gospel yet?
No.
Oh my God.
I guess tonight.
You gotta check out Midnight Gospel. You'll love it. So it's Duncan. You know who Duncan Trussell is?
No.
He's a comedian, but he has his own podcast called the Duncan Trussell Family Hour, and he's fantastic.
Okay.
He's got this crazy Texas, I don't know where, some kind of Southern accent, but very, very spiritual, very enlightened, into all the the meditating and all this in the psychedelics and everything, and it's a cartoon where he's this kid named Clancy, and he goes and visits different dimensions and different worlds.
Okay.
But he takes the podcast and he takes the conversations and puts them and makes these two cartoon characters have. And I hate cartoons. Like I was never like a big Simpsons guy. But I love this one. It's fantastic.
There's a lot of Midnight Gospel.
Midnight Gospel.
We got into a little bit of anime, action anime.
Like the Japanese anime?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like some
Weird
good,
like that, yeah.
some good stuff.
Yeah.
I think one was
Very
like they're
entertaining.
fighting zombies, right? Was one of them.
Yeah.
And the other one was like similar, or no?
They were fighting dragons and stuff.
Oh,
and demons.
And demons.
Dragons and demons.
Yeah.
Always good.
Rage of the Behemoth, Virgin Soul, something like that.
These are all anime things?
Yeah, so the titles are I think the most impressive.
Titles are the best part. Yeah.
So the first one was Virgin Soul, Rage of Behemoth. Right? And then.
And are you enjoying these? Or is this him?
Entertaining enough.
They're
I think he started
awesome.
watching them because of me.
No. And then these are actually, I think these are on Amazon. And then.
Yeah.
And then the other one is Cabanetti
Yeah.
of the Iron Fortress.
Okay.
I mean, come on.
If
That's
people like
just-
adult cartoons with a lot of action, this
Yeah.
is like nonstop.
Yeah, see, I'm not.
Yeah.
I can't watch it. I'm
Yeah.
surprised I like this one.
But Midnight Gospel, we'll check that
Midnight
out.
Gospel.
But
We've been catching up on Last Kingdom, which the
Yeah,
show
it's a new
you
season.
love, you
I saw it,
love to
and
hate.
I tried it a second time and I couldn't get through it.
So
No,
we're actually
gosh.
going. We started on season 1 and going all the way through
Yeah.
to season 4.
it's gonna take us a while. Yeah.
Did you guys do Peaky Blinders?
I've been trying to get her to do it.
You have?
Yeah, not hard enough, obviously.
Obviously not.
No
at
pun
all.
intended.
Yeah.
The only thing I would suggest to you is watch it with closed captioning on, because sometimes they speak and it's like,
You don't know what they're saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because the actor is Irish, right? The main guy, Kellen something. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's UK, so yeah. Well, a lot
We
of
watch a
stuff
lot
you
of
watch,
BBC, so we basically have
It's
It
probably
on all
my
the
favorite
time.
thing on Netflix.
BBC has fantastic television.
Really good shows, yeah.
Bodyguard
also BBC,
on
I
Netflix.
think. Yeah.
It is fucking intense. It's arguably the most intense show I ever watched.
I don't think I've ever heard of it.
It has maybe the craziest scene in fucking any television show. It's about a gentleman, is a former veteran of I think Afghanistan, who is now a police officer and gets selected to be the
Like a security
personal protection
personnel,
officer for the Secretary of Defense in the UK.
Okay.
And it is fucking like the first scene is like I think 20 minutes. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but I was like, I couldn't talk. I couldn't breathe.
He couldn't chew. Like he was like,
Like yeah, it was
good.
it was fucking like
It's really
good,
good.
man.
Yeah.
Like, it
I
holds
was
your
very
attention,
impressed.
yeah. And it has everything.
Yeah.
Like fucking
It
action.
has sex. It has action.
Yeah.
It has
is the sex
intrigue.
with good-looking women? Because that was my problem with Last Kingdom. It was very
Last Kingdom,
difficult.
he's got
That
like 6
first
girls.
girlfriend was horrific.
Brida's not a good
There
looker,
is
no.
there is
So picky.
sex.
So picky.
Looking like me, and I'm so picky.
There is an affair. There's an intense affair.
Okay.
And I think you would enjoy it.
Alright.
I think you would enjoy
Whether
it very
she's attractive
much.
or not is up to you, I guess. You
Yeah.
know.
It depends what you find attractive.
Yeah, I guess.
But yeah.
Not
yeah.
Brita. She was
Not
not,
Brita,
Not
she's
Brita?
not.
not good.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see who he is in season 4.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch the end of Vikings?
No, I need to get back there because I did like that show.
We did, and then Ragnar died, and then
Did it?
Yeah.
When Ivar the Boneless came in, that's the last season I saw. When it was like, even though I
It was
know that
tough
he
to
was
watch.
he was a historically significant character,
Interesting, yeah.
I just wasn't into it. I loved the first season with him and Lagatha, and I thought they were such a cool couple, and I liked her, I liked him. She was super hot, and it was just.
You approves
they were
of
both
Lagertha, thank God.
hard-asses,
Yeah.
If you had, so for president,
Lagertha told you.
I think I'd probably go Lagatha.
Okay, so Lagertha, so we got that,
Yeah.
and then Lagertha or Ragnar.
God, that was pretty.
Oh,
At least with Ragnar, you wouldn't lose.
Yeah, that's true.
That guy- a lot of that stuff was accurate in its own way. Like they took stories and
sort of weaved them into
Yes,
it, right?
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I mean, I think it was a really good show
was.
until like he died. But obviously, we
I don't think-
knew he was gonna die, so
I don't know how
it's not a
much
surprise.
of what happens in the series is that way.
Yeah.
I think up to this death, which is I think historically quote unquote
Right.
pretty accurate, right? After that, what happens to all the sons? I know there's some travels. What's this? Bjorn travels the Middle
Mediterranean.
East, yeah, the Mediterranean. But I think
Did you ever read Eaters of the Dead? And it became they made the 13th Warrior based on it.
okay.
But Eaters of the Dead is really good. That's the true story of this Middle Eastern religious guy who the king says you have to go with these Vikings up there and tell me everything that you see and everything you do, and they go up and they're some kind of monsters that they thought were preying on these villages, and they think that, and this is all historical through these transcripts of this imam who went up there with them, but they think that maybe they had come across the last tribe of Neanderthals that were coming down and killing these people,
Really?
and they
Okay.
Wow.
went to battle with them.
I watched
That's
the
pretty
movie
cool.
way back with
Yeah.
Antonio
Yes.
Puss in
Which
Boots.
was a good
Vendetta.
movie too.
Yes,
I enjoyed
yeah.
that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was the 13th Warrior?
He was the
Yeah.
gentleman
Yeah.
that Mark is referring
Yeah.
to.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
The middle.
Sounds
East.
familiar. I haven't
Yeah.
watched it.
What are you looking forward to, man?
Opening this place back up. I'm also looking forward to summer and just getting out and I'm I'm super excited to get to the point where I can get back on an airplane and go places.
Yeah, it's killing me. Yeah, it's
But I
like the
think-
worst part of it.
I don't know
think.
how you guys feel. I don't see me getting on an airplane again without a mask.
No, yeah, not
Just to be
without a mask.
safe. Why
Yeah.
not?
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, we wear masks when we go out in
Yeah.
mass
'Cause,
public.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a lot of people do wear masks. I think we were kind of talking about that. People are wearing masks.
By themselves walking on the street.
Yeah, and I'm just
I
like,
saw a
what
cop
are you
today
doing?
Driving around with one on. I wear one when I go places with Aaron to make
Yeah.
her happy. But,
Yeah.
you know.
I mean, that's just to protect other people.
Yeah, yeah.
Really.
And I'm aware of it. I stay
Yeah.
away from people.
Yeah.
You know, but there's plenty of people who don't. So hey,
Mhm.
wear your masks. And, But yeah, I think that's one of the major. What about you guys? I just want to go somewhere.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, I miss it. It's
Yeah, we're
been-
talking about
yeah.
driving.
Yeah.
We're like, get in the car and drive. Because, flying, I guess. The thing is, we don't know because there's so much uncertainty in other parts of the world that we don't know if we even allowed to go.
Yeah.
Like, what's the situation when we come back? Do we get quarantined there? Do we get quarantined when we come back? How are they doing? So it's kind of just like seeing in terms of travel, what can we get to in the car that's reasonable, right?
Well, you know what? We're going, and you guys might want to consider this. So, we're supposed to take a tour. We were going to do this anyhow, but we're going to take a driving tour of the Carolinas because that's one of the places we may end up moving. We're looking at Florida or the Carolinas, but I basically grew up every summer on the Outer Banks. I don't know if you guys have ever been there.
I have back in high school, but that's actually a good call.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just get a house down there and hang out for a week,
Yeah.
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 Probably like an 8-hour, 9-hour drive.
Yeah, it's not too bad.
Yeah.
You can make it in a day.
Just when you like plan so much and then it's just
Yep.
Yeah, we had everything planned out.
dissipates.
Yeah, it was.
This was
kind
going
of
to be
You
a
guys are
really
going to
good
the UK?
trip. Yeah. I
it
mean,
was-
it was like a
we're
road
gonna-
trip.
North Coast 500, which is like one of the top road trips in the world. And it obviously got shot to hell. So it was.
Yeah.
Okay,
But yeah,
so-
travel would be nice. I
Yeah.
think that's the one thing that to me doesn't feel normal.
Mm-hmm.
Where, just going somewhere that's not Ohio.
Right. Well, you guys are like us too. I mean,
Yeah.
this is the longest I think we've gone without going somewhere
Yeah.
in forever.
Yeah.
It's been like 6 months for us. It's like
I think
6
feels-
months too long.
Feels longer.
And I've
Yeah.
got these friends down in the Tampa area that we, and they're showing pictures. They're like, I just want to go back down there.
Well, yeah. I mean, you can drive to
Yeah.
Florida too.
Oh,
right?
fuck
Yeah.
yeah.
Not much. No.
It takes
Yeah.
your whole vacation driving down there. But
Yeah, that's the thing. I think we were looking to fly to Alaska.
Alaska's great.
Yeah. But
It's a
then
good
it's
day
like
trip.
it's like a day trip, which
Yeah.
is fine. I mean,
What's a day trip?
like,
Like
he
the
means
travel
like
time.
travel's like 12 hours. It's like a 12-hour trip
To
get
Alaska?
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In what parallel universe are you driving to Alaska? in 12
Not
hours?
driving,
flying.
flying.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I think I got
Driving.
there. I think I
Yeah.
did an hour to Chicago and then 5 hours up on the plane. I think.
Okay.
It wasn't crazy.
Which is it's not bad. It's the same price as like a ticket to Manchester
Yeah, to the UK.
that we got refunded.
just
Yeah.
make sure you got the weather. We went
Yeah.
in late June, I think.
Okay.
We
Mm-hmm.
had Highland Games up there.
We're thinking like I don't know.
I was
what we're
thinking August.
Yeah, just
Yeah.
when is the kind of the heat of the summertime? Go somewhere cooler.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like Glacier, we're looking at Glacier National Park in Montana, northern Idaho, stuff like that. Yeah. So
Somewhere
it's
where it's cold.
cooler. Yeah.
Cooler, yeah. We hate
cooler
when
than
it's
the
hot.
summer.
I went to Calgary in August one year, and there was snow up in Banff. So
Really?
Oh.
Yeah.
so there was snow in the
Oh,
air.
yeah.
Perfect.
Banff. There
Done.
you go. Yeah.
Banff
Go.
was
I'm going there for the
beautiful.
entire
Yeah.
summer.
Banff, and then
Yeah.
going up a little bit, you
Yeah.
head into Jasper.
Yeah, yeah.
That's a
We
good
flew into
spot.
Calgary. We spent, I think, 4 days in Calgary and then a day in Banff and then back, and that was a fantastic trip. Calgary became one of my favorite cities on the planet, just because it's one of those cities where you get this very cool, even artsy city in the middle of cowboy country. There's nothing else there. And just very cool city, like Nashville or Key West or New Orleans. It's very cool. You'd love it.
Are you planning on doing the competitions over the summer, or is that just
Highlander? We're not going to do Highlander this year, just because we'd already have the registration done and everything, and in play, and then most everybody who had a competition scheduled for the spring is now scheduling it for August. So it's like I'm not going to even compete with that. But we've got there's a beautiful winery across the street here.
Yeah.
So
Paper Moon,
2021, we may look at having it there. We haven't
really?
contacted it yet, but
That's
our planning,
Okay.
to have a big event there.
Oh, that'd be great.
Are you looking to do something individually?
No.
No.
I'm looking to get back to jiu-jitsu as soon as I may go and attack the instructor tomorrow, because I said if I attack him, he has to defend himself. So there's not much else you can do.
There's not a lot of social
practice
distancing.
right there. Yeah.
There is
not
no
in jiu-jitsu. No, you're like.
No. So.
I mean, you're swinging the kettlebells pretty well.
I'm having such a good time doing that. That's just a whole new training thing for me, and I'm digging it. Just really enjoying it. I swing kettlebells and I squat and deadlift. I squat once a month and deadlift once a month.
Do you have that mace?
Not here. I have it at home. That's my at-home thing.
Yeah, that's a solid tool, man.
Teach me how to swing
We
it.
were talking about it, and I'm like, what is he talking about? And he's like, oh, just like the usual stuff. And I'm like, he can't.
Like a shoulder rock,
It's similar.
You'll have to show me. But.
It's like you're talking about Duffin, right?
Yeah, like the way Duffin does it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's similar.
Oh, now you're telling me it's similar.
But it's not similar. It's similar to what you do.
Okay.
In terms of it's more just. I mean, it's strengthening, but also just health, right?
Yeah.
Developing the
shoulder health.
Yeah, stability. Yeah. I think he just came out with that crazy barbell that has 64 different angles, whatever.
Yeah.
That dude, you should get that dude on your podcast.
Yeah.
No. No, not so much.
Yeah, but no, thank you.
Maybe someday.
Yeah.
He just squatted 1,000 for 3 wearing a breath belt. You can come in here, kind of keep it down a little bit. We're almost done. He did it because we have a sponsor now, the breath belt.
Okay.
Which was here a minute ago. I don't know, Pepe may have it. It's a new belt and it's really cool. I don't know how it works, and I even say that in the ads. I'm like, I
still don't know
I have no idea how this works. It just does. But it's a belt and it's a flexible. It would probably be really good for Olympic weightlifting. I'll have to show it to you. But the stability you get out of it's crazy,
really?
And I don't know how it works.
Is the company called Breath Belt?
Breath Belt.
Okay.
And then you can put when you're not using it for lifting, you can put tennis balls in it, and it helps you train your psoas and your core muscles. And Jesse, the owner, if you ask him to explain it to you, he will. But
are they local or?
I don't know where he's out of. Pennsylvania, maybe.
Okay.
New York, I don't know. But I'll send you the link to it. It's really cool, and we got 2 of them here, and Hayden's throwing hammer in it, and he knows the difference, and I've done some jogging in it, and I don't know what it's doing, but you feel a difference. But then it's one of the best weightlifting belts I've ever been around.
Now you don't have to plug it anymore during the episode.
That's true. I won't plug it.
You don't have to
consider that ad done.
You don't have to plug it in the intro.
I'll send you a link to it. It's pretty cool. But,
Before we close up, Hayden is looking massive.
So this is Hayden's schedule. So Hayden wakes up about 9 o'clock every day, eats a ton of food, usually lays back down for a nap after that. I come pick him up, or if he's at the house, I just grab him. We go out to throw. So he'll either throw shot, disc, or hammer, and then he does his lifting, and then he comes home and he eats another huge meal and he falls asleep, and then he wakes up and he goes and runs hills or runs sprints, and then he comes home, he eats a huge dinner, and then he plays PlayStation till 1 o'clock in the morning with his buddies.
God, to be a teenager again.
So all he's doing
That's
is napping,
awesome.
eating, and lifting weights.
He's probably loving it.
So he's basically Bulgarian.
It's basically what
Bulgarian.
Yeah. He's gained 10 pounds of muscle over this quarantine.
No, I just when the last time we saw him, and I'm just like night and day.
I didn't know that was your kid.
Yeah.
I was like, that's a man.
189 pounds.
Yeah.
189 now?
Yeah. It's crazy.
Wow.
You know, these kids just grow.
Yeah,
So.
like something like hits right.
I was
and
wearing his
all of a
shorts
sudden,
the other
boom.
day. Like a pair of his shorts. I was like, I need a pair of shorts. I grabbed them off the top of the dryer and I put them on. I'm like, okay, I guess we wear the
They
same
fit.
clothes now. And yeah. They.
Well, congrats.
Thank you.
He's looking great, man.
Yeah.
He had a good indoor track season and then couldn't do outdoors. So we'll see.
What year is he?
Freshman. It was his freshman year.
Okay.
So he made states as a freshman in the weight throw, and so now he's getting ready for another indoor season because.
Is he choosing track and field, or was there some sort of guidance?
Gentle nudge.
There was definitely a gentle nudge, but I don't nudge him. He throws almost every day, and I don't nudge him to do that at all because most of the time, especially now, it's me standing outside shivering while he's throwing. So, but he's digging it.
Awesome. Well, good for you, man.
Thank you. Well, we psyched for the gyms to be back open, and
Yeah, we are.
It's from a coach perspective. It's something that I welcome with bated breath for the athletes.
Yeah,
Right?
100%.
I know they're doing their best at home, but for them, it's just being in the gym and lifting with other people is totally different atmosphere.
That's why home gyms. Some people are afraid that home gyms are going to take over. It's not the same.
Yeah.
It's not the same.
For there might be a small percentage, but I'm thinking where most people enjoy lifting and having their environment of other people to
Especially
push them.
gyms like Black Flag and Blind Dog. I mean, absolutely.
Yeah, the atmosphere is, it's like
whatever the LA Fitness.
In my garage, but most people want like music and people.
Yeah, like company.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think this was, I don't know, I forget who I was listening to on a podcast, but I think they were talking about Glenn Penley, rest in peace.
Yeah.
And I think I appreciate his philosophy in so the number of ways, but he's like, basically you coach, you just guide, right? And take a few variables like programming and all that stuff, but it's the people that you train with really bring out kind of the best in you. For those, if you're that type of athlete, right?
And there's plenty of them out there.
Yeah, and so I think that's, and I share that sentiment, and I think most of the athletes that we have share that same sentiment as well. Especially with Barbell Club, with Olympic weightlifting, it is an individual sport, but having somebody there to kind of push you and
Olympic weightlifting, you need somebody with an eye too.
Yeah. So I'm giddy for them to be back in the gym. Yeah. And hopefully, obviously, healthy, safe, and no rowing.
I'm opening it up, whether they like it or not. Come and arrest me.
Well, that was of all people. I was like, I was waiting. I didn't think you would close.
I wouldn't do it again. I wouldn't do it voluntarily. Goddamn Tom Reaney talked me into doing it. No, I'm opening back up. It's coming real soon. So I've been following the rules long enough. So now I get a reward. So
there you go.
I wish we could go out to dinner or something, but not much to do.
We'll invite you over.
That would be
Yeah,
wonderful.
house. That'd be nice.
Once we're done with most of this stuff.
Mark might have to bring his own food because he doesn't like that vegan stuff.
I'll give it a shot.
Will you?
Sure, why not? I'm not gonna die.
Okay.
You're gonna die.
I was gonna say, you offered first because I was gonna say I could cook you a steak, but
no, I'll when in Rome.
Okay, I dig it. Yeah, that's the deal. You heard it here on the Refined Savage podcast.
Absolutely.
Mark Valenti.
We're doing a show on Friday.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have like questions in advance, or is this the same thing?
It'll be the same thing.
Sweet. I can do that too.
Yeah. So we're talking about the coronavirus the whole time.
No, I think last time you so I was thinking about this. I'm just gonna let you and Tom talk because that's the same thing that happened last time.
Did you see your boy So-Called Strong had a Uncharted shirt on today? That was pretty cool.
He'll post those once in a while.
Yeah,
We're always like, that always cheers me up.
Yeah, and we had him on Black Flag Radio.
Yeah,
you saw that. No, he's such a good dude.
I like watching his videos. He's super technical.
Yeah, and he's strong as fuck. And he's always been using just kettlebells.
Yeah.
I mean, with some obviously barbell work
Yeah,
interspersed. If you're ever out in Seattle, You ever
He's
get out
just
there?
such a good
I like
person.
Seattle. I'll get out there one
Yeah.
of these days.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's a very good person.
Just like it's one of those people that you meet them once and you love them forever.
Yeah.
And you don't even know them that well.
Yeah.
We have a lot of
Yeah.
like-minded philosophies
Yeah.
on a lot of things from when I've read of his stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
He got off Facebook for that.
What?
He got off of Facebook for that because his
did?
philosophies were.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, people were too critical.
I don't.
him.
Yeah.
I
I don't know
only
how you
check.
can critique
So
his
if you ever
stuff.
like tag me on Facebook, I only see if Aaron tags me in something, I go and look so I don't get yelled at. And then I post things from Instagram, but I will
Yeah.
not scroll to the feed
No.
anymore.
Yeah.
Just
I
That's-
will
yeah.
only tag you on Facebook in like pagan related stuff.
Yeah. Well, if I see it, but if for some reason I don't respond, it's because I just didn't see it.
No, it's all good. It's all good. I know you're an asshole.
I am 100%. All right. Well, I guess I will talk to you guys on Friday then.
Yeah.
And if I can't quite figure out Zoom, just I'll get there eventually.
Yeah,
Don't worry
it's
about
pretty
it.
simple. You just got a couple links.
All right, guys. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
This has been the Refined Savage. See ya.